what's going on guys? Mike here. Today we're going to replace a wall outlet socket. So I have a new tamper resistant outlet. Got this at the store in a 10 pack for around $10. So about $1. And I got a new outlet cover. So all that else we need is a Phillips screwdriver. We need a flathead screwdriver. I prefer a thin one. I'll tell you why in a moment. Needle nose pliers, electrical tape, and an electrical safety tester. Optionally, a outlet tester after we've done everything to confirm without question that you have done everything correctly. So, with that being said, let's get started. All right, so the very first step really needs to be go find your breaker box in your house or wherever you live, open up the breaker box. You can either find the particular fuse if you look at the codes of what room is what. In this case, because this is the foolproof, the main breaker, I'm gonna kill that. So I'm gonna turn it off, all the lights are gonna go off because the entire house power will be killed, and we'll talk about that in a moment. All right, here we go. All right, this is gonna be a quick tutorial of how to change an outlet. In this case, I recently redid the whole room, got some paint on these are kind of gross. So I'm gonna replace them with the new spec. These are tamper resistant. So that means that kids can't put a paper clip in there. In order for them to actually work, you have to put both prongs in there in order for it to activate. So you'll actually see there is a little plastic piece in each side. So in order for it to work, again, both an actual plug has to go in at the same time. So that will be replacing this. So we're gonna go through the wiring. I'll talk it through as I go. So this is an old house. There may be some funky stuff in here, but we'll see what we find. All right, so I'm just undoing top and bottom screw. That holds the outlet into the box, in this case the blue box in the wall. I prefer to use hand tools for this, just make it easier. Also very important, make sure your power is off at the breaker box. I prefer to turn the entire house power off just for peace of mind, as well as get yourself a safety tool. So this is a Southwire brand. You turn it on. If the outlet was on, this would beep red. It would show red and also beep. In this case, since the whole house is off, this is safe to work on. So always do that before you actually touch the wire. And so that beep was when I turned it off. Okay, so we'll take out the bottom one as well. Okay. All right, so now this should be free to remove, to take out. Got some paint, so it's gonna be a little stuck. So just, in my case, I just have to pry it loose because there was a little paint on there, and pull straight out. And this is best case scenario where I actually have plenty of slack. I've worked on a couple of my other rooms where there isn't actual proper slack. Again, if you wanted to, if you have the safety tool, just extra double check before you touch anything. You can double check that it's still safe to work on. All right, so in this case, let me zoom out a little bit here. In this case, I had this one outlet that was this way. I prefer to have the ground on the bottom. There is no true right way. You can look up on the internet. There's a million discussions on what's the best method, but my whole house, the rest of it is this way with the ground on the bottom. So I will be doing that. So all I'm gonna be doing, and I suggest that you do this too, just take your phone, either take a picture, or if you have a phone with enough space, just take a quick video. So I'm just on the iPhone here, and I'm just doing, this could be a photo, but I'm just saying, okay, and I say it out loud just so I can refer to it later. So I'll say black hot wire on the bottom right. We got ground on the bottom, the green screw here, as well as the neutral white wire on the middle bottom. So it's always good just to have a before and after, or before if you ever forget what you're doing. But this is fairly simple. So again, we've already triple checked that this is off. So what I'm doing now, make sure, let me move this so I can get a tighter shot here. All right, so what I'm doing, I'm using a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm just unscrewing this. I'm actually gonna back the screw out all the way because this is a junk outlet and I don't care if that comes out. But I'm just gonna do that all the way around for all 3 of the wires here. So I'm gonna do the white neutral wire here. And also remove the ground. Now, what I like to do is prep the wires. So I kind of like to separate them. Again, I'm not a professional. However, I have researched this thoroughly, and I have also done this many times without issue. But I just wanted to pass on what I have picked up. So you want to get a pair of needle nose pliers, pretty important here. You can get these for around $5 or less, depending on quality and whatnot. So what I'm doing, let me get a tight shot of this. I like to take the wire and almost get it straight, so start fresh. Okay, and I'm gonna take the needle nose pliers and bend it to the right, so like clockwise. Okay, so we have it around there. So that's a little bit too much. So I'll show you what I mean in a moment why I'm doing that. I'm gonna do that to the other wires as well. So I'm gonna do that to the ground. Basically just allows us to get a good start. So we're gonna be wrapping these. We're gonna be wrapping these back around the new outlet. And it's important that when you do this, when you wrap them, that it's important when you wrap them that you want them to go, again, clockwise to the right, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is, so I'm gonna be putting the black or hot wire, the one that actually carries electricity, onto this screw here. And I want it to go to the right. So when I tighten it, it actually tightens. So when I tighten it, did you see me put that on there? So put it on like that. And also what I like to do, in addition to that, is take my needle nose pliers and just make sure, this is optional, but you just don't want that wire to come out. So I'm just pinching the end if you have a little excess, so you know that that wire is not coming out ever. And then we're tightening this down. Okay. And I'm also just gonna tighten this top screw here. This does nothing. This will just make it cleaner in the end. I'll show you at the end what we'll be doing. We'll be wrapping everything with tape. So just make sure this is very tight. Another method I will show you, just to interrupt our thought real quick, in lieu of putting the wire around this screw here, this is a different one I just picked up to show you. You could actually put it directly, you could straighten the wire, put it in there, and it'll actually lock on. And I don't prefer to do that. That's kind of a new school way of doing it. So I'm not gonna be showing you how to do that in this one, but I just wanted to discuss it. All right, so we've already prepped the wires. We've already prepped the wires here by doing the clockwise screw type thing. And you just need to make sure that you have a good grip on it. Make sure that you can work on it easily. So if you're not happy with the way the hook was initially, just redo it and put it around that. So again, I'm doing the white neutral wire here. I'm just gonna seat it nicely, and then again, just seat it nicely, and then I'm just pinching it back. So it's nice and tight. So if you see that in the shot, the wire is going around clockwise. Again, taking my Phillips, making sure that's very tight, not going anywhere. And this extra one, I'm just tightening again just so it's clean, so we can wrap this up. And also we're gonna do the ground, which is the bare copper wire here, and putting that around the clockwise. So I'm not really happy with this. I'd like it to have a little more slack or a little more bend in it. So adjust it how you need to or how you'd like. So I'm gonna do that. And then with my pliers, I'm pinching that down so it's not going anywhere. Again. Okay, so that is very tight. Now, next step is to take some electrical tape. You can just break it with your hands. Top tip here is to, let me actually move this. Okay. So top tip here is to, I like to take a piece, bend it onto itself. So you can always in the future, you can always get a grip of it without it sticking to itself, so you're not in it. So if you ever need to take it off, you can take it off easily. So I'm gonna put this, basically wrap everything. This is not required, however, it's a nice to have type of thing. This just keeps everything secure. There's no chances that for whatever reason, there is nothing else in the wall, but it lessens the chances of any issues. It's kind of like an extra safety step. So I'm just wrapping this with electrical tape all the way around. Not a big deal, just pretty simple thing to do right there. And now you basically just need to get this in the wall. So luckily, my space in the box is so luckily I have enough space in the cable in the box here in the outlet. So I'm just gonna kind of bend these wires back. And as I do it, just be careful, make sure nothing comes out or whatnot. And as I do it, just positioning everything. So this top screw going into the top box and the bottom screw of the outlet going into the middle hole of the blue box here. So just kind of generally line it up. I can just start both of them, making sure that they're still good. Oops. I got a little overzealous on my electrical tape here. So, yeah, if you spot any issues, now's the time to take care of it, but I just wanted to make sure this tape wasn't actually seen. I think the cover would have covered it, but again, everything's still covered, kind of safe back here. All right, so I'm gonna push it in the box. My cables, my wires are good to go back there. I'm just gonna start both of the screws. Okay. Get everything kind of lined up where you want it. You do have a little play if you do need to angle it left or right, but just keep that in mind for most of these. So if you want to center it, do that. In this case, I'm gonna push it a little bit to the right so it's more level. Again, in the older homes, things aren't always level, but you do what you can to make everything look nice. Okay, so all right, so that's nice and tight in the wall. So let's go turn the breaker box on. We'll test this guy. There's my main breaker. It's on the off position. Just gonna flip it up. So main breaker is now on. So let's go test everything out. All right, so we just turned the main breaker on. We're gonna test everything. So first off, I'm turning my safety tool here, putting that on. So if this is working, see how it's blinking? That means there's power, that is hot. So if you remember, we put the black or hot wire on the right-hand side, and that's where power's coming from. All right. So that is live, it works. Also, I do have this Sperry brand tester here. So what I'm gonna do, there's different things. It gives you error codes, but basically it'll tell you if everything's good to go. Oh, okay. So it's showing the two, let me move this camera. Okay, so I moved the camera, and at first I saw the two orange, and that kind of got me worried because normally orange or red, amber is not good. But I plugged it in. This is the code of what the different colors mean. So the two on the right means correct, so we're good. I'm just going to unplug this. This is just a nice to have. This was like $3 on Amazon, I believe. And if you notice, when I push this in, about this point, because they are the tamper resistant, you do have to push it in a little bit more. But again, we're good to go, so that's great news. Okay, so this I just got at the big box store. Leviton is a brand that I prefer. The same brand as the tamper resistant outlets. And this one is the preferred unbreakable. It is the 3/8 of an inch larger, so it's gonna be a larger surround, a little more forgiving. All right, so top tip here, you wanna make sure, and this is for those that care about the details. This comes pre-screwed, but this screw is painted white. Let me see if I can get that close shot. So that's a painted white screw. So you want to just get that positioned nicely on there. But this is the important part for those that are detail oriented. Make sure your screw is your screwdriver flathead regular is very thin, and you want to be careful when you do this so you don't strip the paint off of the white screw. So I'm just gently putting that in there and screwing it. And I like to, when I'm finished screwing that, it's nice and tight to have it vertical. That's just what I prefer. And depending on if this profile from the side, this is good, but I'm just telling you guys, if it happened to be too far out, if the outlet itself was too far out forward, that means maybe you have a little more play if you take this off and screw it back into the box. If it was too far out, maybe you didn't screw it in enough. But you can just adjust it, again, depending, but this is good to go as another final test. So as a final test again, we have power, again, a simple test as well. If you don't have this, just grab a lamp with a light bulb and see if your power's on. All right guys, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. This whole box of a 10-pack at the store, at the big box store, was around $11. The cover is 49 cents. You can get tape, needle nose pliers. I really would recommend something like this. I can link that below. Safety test, the safety tester. Again, this thing about $3. So I'll link everything below in the description. But I just wanted to show you that it's, in case you were ever fearful of electricity, you definitely need to respect it. However, I just wanted to let you guys know how I do the different outlets in my house. Again, I am not a trained professional electrician. I do a lot of DIY stuff around the house. I wanted to share with you what I've learned so far, how I've successfully replaced a lot of the outlets in my house so far. So for very little money, you can refresh the look of your house. So for around $3, $4 really, I replaced a whole outlet, made it look fresh with the fresh paint on the walls. Looks like a whole new room. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. I'm pretty responsive to people if they have questions. If you have any different suggestions, if there's anything you saw in the video that you would have done differently, just let me know. Anyways guys, Mike, I'm gonna sign out for today. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.